Have you ever noticed how one simple thought in the morning can shape your entire day, for better or for worse? The mind wakes up before the body, and if you don't guide it, it drags you back into old fears, old habits, and old versions of yourself. But the truth is this: 10 powerful words, 10 simple lines, can completely redirect your mindset the moment you open your eyes. In this episode, we're diving into 10 Stoic affirmations that rewire your thinking, sharpen your focus, and anchor you in calm, grounded strength. These aren't just positive phrases, they're mental commands that reshape the way you walk through your day. If you let them sink in, they can help you respond with intention instead of impulse, build resilience where you once felt fear, and step into every morning with clarity instead of chaos. And if this kind of inner work inspires you, I invite you to subscribe to Stoic Saga, where we grow stronger, calmer, and more intentional together, one episode at a time. Let's begin. 1. I choose my response. Every morning, before the world pulls you in 1,000 directions, you have one simple truth to remember. Your response is the one thing that always belongs to you. Life will present challenges, surprise you with difficulty, and test your emotional strength in ways you didn't expect. But the Stoics taught that between what happens and how you react, there is a space. And in that space lives your freedom, your power, and your growth. Choosing your response is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about refusing to let external events dictate the state of your inner world. When you wake up and say to yourself, "I choose my response," you reclaim control over every situation long before it arrives. You remind yourself that anger is optional, frustration is optional, fear is optional, and impulsive reactions are optional. You begin to see that while chaos may surround you, it does not have to enter you. This single affirmation keeps you grounded because it returns your focus to what is always yours to command: your attitude, your thoughts, and the meaning you choose to assign to events. Throughout the day, you will encounter moments that trigger your old patterns. Someone may speak to you with disrespect. Something may not unfold as you expected. A plan may fail. A person may disappoint you. But when this phrase becomes part of your morning programming, your mind shifts. Instead of reacting instantly, you pause. Instead of taking things personally, you observe. Instead of feeding the fire, you breathe. That pause is not weakness, it's mastery. It is the quiet moment where you decide whether you will damage yourself with impulsive emotion or protect yourself with clarity. Choosing your response also means taking responsibility for your inner state. It means no longer blaming others for your moods, your frustration, or your emotional storms. The moment you commit to this idea, you stop being a victim of circumstances and begin to shape your life from the inside out. The world doesn't get quieter, but you become stronger. The noise doesn't disappear, but your reaction becomes disciplined. You don't control everything that happens, but you control the way you rise above it. And the more you practice this habit, the more your emotional resilience grows. You start noticing that situations that once upset you now feel lighter. Conversations that once triggered you now pass through you with less weight. Problems that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. This is the power of intentional response. It trains your mind to choose clarity over chaos, patience over anger, and wisdom over impulse. Over time, "I choose my response" stops being a phrase and becomes part of who you are. Calm under pressure, steady in difficulty, and grounded in every storm. This is how you reclaim your mind each morning. This is how you build a life guided not by emotion, but by intention. 2. Growth lives here. Every time you repeat to yourself, "Growth lives here," you redefine the meaning of discomfort. Most people wake up wishing for ease, softness, and predictability, but the Stoic mind understands that nothing powerful is built in comfort. Strength is forged in resistance, clarity is shaped in challenge, and resilience grows in the very moments you once tried to avoid. When you begin your morning with this affirmation, you train your mind to see struggle not as a threat, but as the exact environment where your evolution takes place. Discomfort is not punishment. It is the natural weight that builds the emotional and mental muscles you need to navigate life with stability. When something feels difficult, your first instinct may be to pull back, hesitate, or wish it were easier. But reminding yourself that growth lives here shifts your perspective instantly. You begin to understand that the moment you're tempted to quit is the moment your strength is being shaped. The very feeling you once labeled as discomfort becomes proof that you are stepping into a larger version of yourself. Throughout your day, you will encounter small and large forms of discomfort: fatigue, doubt, anxiety, conflict, unexpected tasks, or internal resistance. Most people interpret these moments as signs that something is wrong, but when you anchor your morning in this phrase, you meet these sensations differently. You breathe through them instead of running from them. You observe them instead of resisting them. You realize that every challenge is a doorway, and stepping through it is what makes you sharper, more grounded, and more disciplined. This affirmation also protects you from falling into the trap of victimhood. When you tell yourself, "Growth lives here," you stop believing life is unfair simply because it's difficult. You no longer interpret obstacles as personal attacks. You see them as teachers, uncomfortable, yes, but necessary. Each moment that frustrates you becomes a moment that stretches your patience. Each setback becomes a lesson in adaptability. Each emotional discomfort becomes an invitation to build inner endurance. You begin to see how every experience, especially the painful ones, is training your character. And something powerful happens when you carry this mindset consistently. You become less afraid. Fear dissolves when your mind realizes there is nothing in challenge that can break you, only things that can build you. Stress loses its grip because you understand its purpose. Pressure no longer feels like a burden, but a catalyst. You stop avoiding difficult conversations, demanding tasks, and moments of emotional intensity because you finally understand that on the other side of discomfort is a stronger, wiser, more composed version of yourself. When you say, "Growth lives here," you're reminding yourself that you are not stagnant, you are not stuck, you are evolving. Every morning becomes a new opportunity to step into discomfort with courage instead of fear. And as you do, you begin to transform from someone who avoids challenges into someone who grows through them with deliberate strength. 3. Today matters most. When you start your morning by reminding yourself that today matters most, you immediately shift your mind into the present, the only place where life actually happens. The past may still echo in your memory, and the future may pull at you with fear or anticipation, but neither of them can be touched, shaped, or changed. Only today is real. Only today is yours. And only today contains the power to move your life forward. Most people wake up already living in another time. Their bodies are in the present, but their thoughts are trapped in yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's uncertainties. They replay conversations, regret decisions, and worry about outcomes that haven't even happened. This mental drift steals their clarity before the day even begins. But when you repeat, "Today matters most," you bring your awareness back to what you can actually influence: your actions, your mindset, and the way you show up in this moment. This phrase is a reminder that the past has no authority over who you choose to be today. Whatever went wrong yesterday, arguments, failures, disappointments, or lost opportunities, belongs to a chapter that has already closed. You don't need to carry old emotions into a new morning. You don't need to let an old story define a new version of yourself. Today gives you a fresh chance to make different choices, to create new momentum, and to take one step, however small, toward the person you want to become. And the future, with all its unknowns, loses its power to intimidate you when you anchor yourself in this present moment. Worry fades because you realize that tomorrow is built from the decisions you make today. There's no need to fear what's coming when you are focused on mastering what's in front of you now. Stoicism teaches that peace comes from letting go of what you can't control, and you can't control the future, but you can control how you live the next hour, the next conversation, the next task. That is where your strength lies. When you say, "Today matters most," you also remind yourself to bring intention to your actions. You stop moving through the day on autopilot and start choosing how you think, how you speak, and how you respond. Small habits, like how you handle frustration, how you treat others, how you treat yourself, turn into the architecture of your life. Every decision you make today is a vote for the person you're becoming. When this truth sinks in, procrastination loses its appeal because you understand that wasting today is wasting power. This mindset also protects your mental peace. Instead of getting overwhelmed by the entire week, month, or year ahead, you narrow your focus to what's immediately within reach. It becomes easier to breathe, easier to concentrate, and easier to act. You regain control by focusing on one day, one moment, one meaningful action at a time. When you fully embrace the idea that today matters most, you begin living with presence instead of distraction, with purpose instead of hurry, and with clarity instead of confusion. You give the day your best, not because it's easy, not because everything is perfect, but because you understand that this moment is your life. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, now. 4. I am enough. When you begin your morning by telling yourself, "I am enough," you interrupt one of the most destructive patterns the mind creates, believing that your worth depends on performance, approval, or comparison. This simple phrase is not about ego or pretending to be perfect. It's about reclaiming the truth that you were already whole long before anyone had the chance to validate you or judge you. It is a reminder that nothing outside of you has the authority to define your value. Most people wake up carrying invisible weights, the pressure to prove themselves, to meet expectations, to outperform others, to look a certain way, to achieve more just to feel acceptable. They move through their day with a quiet sense of not enough, not successful enough, not confident enough, not attractive enough, not productive enough. This internal chase drains their joy and traps them in a life where they are constantly performing instead of living. When you repeat, "I am enough," you break that cycle. You remind your mind that worth is something you are, not something you earn. You stop treating life like a competition and start seeing it as a path of growth. You no longer base your identity on how others see you, because you realize that external opinions are unstable. They shift, they fade, they contradict each other. Your worth must come from within, or it will never feel secure. This affirmation also protects you from the trap of comparison. In the modern world, it's easy to look at other people's achievements and feel behind, but comparison is a thief of presence. It blinds you to your progress, your strengths, your unique path. When you say, "I am enough," you reconnect with your own journey. You stop measuring your life with someone else's ruler, and you begin appreciating the quiet victories that only you can see. I am enough also creates emotional resilience. When you believe in your inherent worth, criticism stops cutting as deeply, rejection feels less personal, and setbacks lose their ability to define you. You understand that failing at something doesn't make you a failure. It simply means you are learning, evolving, and moving forward. You no longer crumble from external pressure because your foundation is built from self-respect, not approval. This truth also gives you permission to rest. You don't have to burn yourself out to feel worthy. You don't have to constantly prove your value through productivity. You can grow without punishing yourself. You can rest without guilt. You can slow down without feeling like you're falling behind. Recognizing your own enoughness creates space for balance and self-compassion. And perhaps most importantly, this phrase reconnects you with your authenticity. When you believe you're enough as you are, you stop hiding your flaws, minimizing your strengths, or pretending to be someone else to earn acceptance. You show up with honesty, with openness, and with confidence. Not because you think you're perfect, but because you trust that you are worthy of being seen exactly as you are. When repeated every morning, I am enough becomes more than an affirmation. It becomes the lens through which you view your entire life. It softens your self-talk, strengthens your self-respect, and reminds you that you don't need to chase worthiness, you simply need to live it. 5. I release control. When you begin your morning by saying, I release control, you're not giving up your power, you're reclaiming it. Because the truth is, most of the suffering people experience comes from trying to micromanage what was never theirs to command in the first place. Life moves with or without your permission. People act according to their nature, circumstances unfold unpredictably, and outcomes rarely align perfectly with expectations. The more you cling, the more you suffer. But the moment you release that grip, peace begins to flow back into your life. This phrase is a reminder that your power is not in controlling events, but in controlling your inner response to them. It shifts your focus from forcing outcomes to guiding your own actions with clarity, intention, and wisdom. When you say, I release control, you are choosing alignment over resistance, serenity over chaos, and growth over frustration. Control often disguises itself as responsibility. You think you're just trying to help, keeping things together, or making sure nothing goes wrong. But deep down, it's fear. Fear of uncertainty, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. The Stoics recognized this centuries ago. The more you try to hold on to things outside your influence, the more you betray your own peace. By releasing the illusion of control, you stop exhausting your energy on battles you cannot win. This phrase also protects your relationships. Many conflicts come from attempting to control how others behave, feel, or think. Whether it's trying to get someone to change, expecting them to act a certain way, or holding resentment when they don't meet your standards, control poisons connection. But when you release the need to manage other people's actions, you create space for genuine respect, healthier boundaries, and emotional freedom. I release control teaches you to trust life's timing. Not everything needs to happen now. Not every answer must appear immediately. Some paths reveal themselves only when you stop forcing them. This release turns anxiety into patience, tension into flow, and fear into curiosity. You begin to see obstacles as part of your development rather than threats to your plans. It also brings clarity to your priorities. When you stop chasing what you cannot command, you naturally redirect your attention to what you can. your discipline, your mindset, your habits, your character. Your life becomes lighter, more focused, and more aligned with your deeper purpose. You stop drowning in mental noise and start moving with intention. And most importantly, releasing control is not weakness, it is trust. Trust in your resilience. Trust in your capacity to face whatever happens. Trust in the process, even when the path feels unclear. This trust builds unshakable confidence because you no longer fear the unknown. You understand that whatever arrives, you can handle it. When repeated each morning, "I release control," becomes a quiet form of power. It frees your mind from unnecessary burdens, centers you in the present moment, and prepares you to meet the day with calm clarity. It is the reminder that you don't need to bend life to your will. You only need to master yourself. 6. I honor my boundaries. Saying "I honor my boundaries" each morning is a declaration that your energy, your peace, and your well-being are not negotiable. It reminds you that you are not obligated to stretch yourself thin for people who take without giving, demand without appreciating, or expect without respecting. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They don't push the world away. They protect what is precious inside you. And when you affirm this at the start of your day, you set the tone for how you expect to be treated, not through force, but through clarity and self-respect. Most people drift through life reacting to everyone else's needs, requests, and emotions. They let guilt shape their decisions, fear shape their silence, and pressure shape their schedule. But when you say, "I honor my boundaries," you are choosing to step out of that cycle. You are choosing to value your own limits as much as you value the comfort of others. Because without boundaries, your days stop belonging to you. They become a constant response to the world's demands. Boundaries are an internal promise, a promise that you will not let anyone drain your energy in ways that harm your growth, a promise that you will not carry emotional loads that are not yours, a promise that you will not shrink yourself to keep someone else comfortable. You begin to understand that every no you say to something draining is a yes to something meaningful, your purpose, your peace, your progress. Stoicism teaches that your mind is your kingdom, and boundaries are the laws that protect it. You cannot think clearly, act wisely, or live intentionally if anyone can walk into your mental space and rearrange your emotions. With strong boundaries, you stop absorbing other people's chaos. You stop explaining your worth. You stop justifying your limits. You simply live in a way that reflects them. When you honor your boundaries, you realize that not everyone deserves the same level of access to you. Some people only take. Some project their frustrations onto you. Some drain your spirit with their negativity. Boundaries allow you to stay kind without being used, helpful without being exploited, available without being depleted. They are the structure that keeps your peace intact. Repeating this phrase each morning also reminds you that your time is sacred. You begin to plan your day with intention instead of letting it get hijacked by distractions, obligations, or emotional manipulation. You protect your mornings, your focus, your mental clarity. You start saying yes to what nourishes you and no to what derails you. And here is the quiet truth. Honoring your boundaries changes how people treat you, not because you ask them to, but because your energy becomes different. You stop over-explaining. You stop chasing. You stop tolerating disrespect. When your boundaries are firm, people either rise to meet them or remove themselves from your life, and both outcomes protect your peace. Most importantly, this phrase strengthens your relationship with yourself, because the moment you break your own boundaries, you break trust with yourself. But when you protect them, you build self-respect, confidence, and inner stability. You show yourself that your well-being matters, and that creates a version of you who is grounded, calm, and unshakable. Each morning, when you say, "I honor my boundaries," you're not just preparing for the day, you're shaping the person you are becoming, someone who values peace over people-pleasing, purpose over guilt, and self-respect over approval. 7. I move with intention. When you start your morning with the words, "I move with intention," you're reminding yourself that every action you take today is either building the person you want to become or pulling you further away from that version of yourself. Life becomes chaotic when you move on autopilot, reacting to distractions, impulses and emotions without awareness. But intention brings you back into alignment. It puts you in the driver's seat of your day, guiding your choices with clarity instead of instinct. Most people drift through their mornings unfocused, scrolling, rushing, reacting, doing things simply because they are habits rather than conscious decisions. But when you say, "I move with intention," you create a mental shift. You tell yourself, "My time matters, my actions matter, my direction matters." Suddenly, your day stops being random. It starts to take shape around what actually moves you forward. Intention is not about perfection, it's about awareness. It means noticing why you're doing something instead of just doing it. It means choosing your priorities instead of letting the world choose them for you. It means replacing impulsive reactions with purposeful responses. Every step becomes a deliberate expression of who you are and who you are becoming. Stoicism teaches that your power lies in your choices, not your circumstances. When you act with intention, you reclaim that power. You begin to slow down just enough to question, is this action aligned with my values? Does it contribute to my growth? Does it bring me closer to the life I want to build? If the answer is no, you learn to redirect your energy. If the answer is yes, you move confidently. This phrase also protects your emotional state. When you act impulsively, your emotions control you. When you act intentionally, your emotions follow your direction. Intention gives you space to breathe, think, and decide instead of being pulled by the noise around you. It becomes a form of mental discipline, a way to keep your inner world steady even when the outer world feels chaotic. I move with intention transforms your productivity as well. Instead of spreading your energy thin across meaningless tasks, you focus on what truly matters. You find yourself making decisions faster because the direction is clearer. You spend less time second-guessing, procrastinating, or getting lost in distractions. Your mind becomes sharper, your actions more effective, and your days more purposeful. And on a deeper level, intention shapes your identity. Every intentional choice is a vote for the person you want to be. Wake up early, a vote. Practice discipline, a vote. Hold your boundaries, another vote. When you move with intention consistently, you stop waiting to feel ready, and you begin becoming ready through action. Repeating this phrase each morning holds you accountable to yourself. It reminds you that success doesn't come from random effort. It comes from deliberate steps taken every single day. It teaches you that even small actions, when done with intention, compound into powerful transformations. When you whisper to yourself, "I move with intention," you are grounding your day in purpose. You're choosing focus over chaos, clarity over impulse, and progress over distraction. You become someone who doesn't just go through the day, you shape it. 8. I welcome change. Starting your morning with the affirmation, "I welcome change," is a powerful shift away from fear, resistance, and stagnation. Most people carry a quiet tension inside them, a fear that life might change too quickly, too suddenly, or in ways they didn't plan for. But the Stoics understood something deeper. Life is change. Everything you love, everything you fear, everything you hope for is in a constant state of becoming. And when you learn to welcome change instead of resisting it, you unlock a level of peace and adaptability that most people never reach. Change is uncomfortable because it threatens your sense of control. It disrupts routines, challenges identities, and forces you to face parts of yourself you've been avoiding. But growth does not happen in stillness. Transformation never comes from staying the same. The moment you welcome change, you stop fighting reality and start flowing with it. Just like a river moves around rocks instead of trying to break through them. When you affirm, "I welcome change," you're training your mind to see transitions not as threats, but as invitations, inviting you to evolve, to upgrade, to shed what no longer serves your path. Instead of clinging to what feels familiar, you learn to trust that life's shifts are shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Change often exposes your old patterns, habits that keep you stagnant, relationships that drain you, beliefs that limit you. When life pushes you, it's often because you've stayed somewhere too long. Saying, "I welcome change," each morning puts you in a mindset of willingness. You begin to ask, what is this shift trying to teach me? What part of myself is ready to grow? What needs to be released for something better to enter? The Stoic perspective is clear. What you resist controls you. What you accept transforms you. Welcoming change means letting go of the illusion that life should always feel stable. It means recognizing that discomfort is often a signal of evolution. It means trusting that even endings carry gifts, new beginnings hidden in disguise. "I welcome change" also frees you from the fear of uncertainty. Instead of needing every detail to be predictable, you learn to navigate uncertainty with calm strength. You respond with curiosity instead of anxiety, with adaptability instead of panic. You begin to see that uncertainty is not the enemy. It's the birthplace of opportunity, creativity, and growth. This mindset empowers you in relationships as well. You stop holding on to people out of fear of losing them. You understand that both you and the people around you will grow, change, drift, reconnect, and evolve. Welcoming change keeps you open instead of controlling, accepting instead of clinging. On a deeper level, this phrase creates emotional resilience. When challenges come, and they always do, you don't break, you adjust. You don't freeze, you adapt. You don't deny reality, you embrace it and shape your response consciously. Life stops feeling like something that happens to you and starts feeling like something that happens for you. Repeating, "I welcome change" every morning sets your mindset for the day. It softens resistance, builds courage, and keeps your heart open. It reassures you that you are capable of handling life's twists and turns because adaptability is one of your greatest strengths. When you truly welcome change, you stop fearing the future, you stop clinging to the past, and you start meeting each day with curiosity, openness, and the quiet confidence that whatever arrives, you are ready. 9. I protect my peace. Beginning your day with the words, "I protect my peace," is a quiet declaration of self-respect. It reminds you that your inner calm is not something the world is allowed to take from you, not through noise, not through negativity, not through the actions of people who haven't earned access to your emotional space. When you affirm this phrase each morning, You're telling yourself that your mind, your energy, and your well-being are sacred, and that you will no longer let anything or anyone disturb what you are building inside. Most people lose their peace not because their lives are hard, but because they give the world too much access to their inner world. They open the door to unnecessary drama, take every comment personally, let negativity seep into their thoughts, and absorb emotions that don't belong to them. But when you say, "I protect my peace," you shift from being reactive to being intentional. You start choosing what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Protecting your peace isn't avoidance, it's wisdom. It's recognizing that your mental space is limited and precious, and that allowing every distraction, argument, or negative person into it is self-sabotage. When you truly protect your peace, you stop trying to win every argument, you stop engaging in unnecessary battles, and you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Your silence becomes a shield, and your distance becomes a strategy. This phrase also teaches emotional boundaries. When you protect your peace, you stop absorbing other people's moods. You stop letting their stress dictate your day. You stop carrying their burdens as if they were yours. You learn to say no without guilt, step back without apology, and walk away without fear. You become selective, not out of arrogance, but out of self-preservation. The Stoics believed that true strength comes from mastering your inner world. "I protect my peace" is the modern expression of that truth. It reminds you that your peace is worth more than someone's approval, than winning a debate, than being right, than being included. It is worth more than temporary validation or temporary comfort. When your peace is stable, your decisions become clearer, your reactions become calmer, and your life becomes more aligned with your values. This phrase is also a reminder to curate your environment. Peace is shaped by what you surround yourself with, the conversations you entertain, the content you consume, the habits you repeat, and the people you allow near you. When you protect your peace, you start choosing environments that nurture your clarity rather than hijack it. You begin to prioritize quiet moments, intentional routines, and meaningful connections. On a deeper level, protecting your peace means protecting your future. Your long-term growth depends on consistency, focus, and emotional stability. Chaos, especially unnecessary chaos, derails all three. Every moment you spend defending your peace is a moment invested in your progress, your dreams, and your evolution. Repeating, "I protect my peace" every morning strengthens your inner authority. It helps you move through the day without being shaken by noise, gossip, or negativity. It turns your attention inward, grounding you in calm awareness. And slowly, this habit shapes a new identity, someone who is centered, selective, disciplined, and unshakable. When you tell yourself, "I protect my peace," you're not escaping the world, you're rising above it. 10. I trust myself. Affirming "I trust myself" each morning is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. It's a commitment to stop outsourcing your confidence, stop doubting your instincts, and stop letting fear dictate your direction. This phrase reminds you that everything you've survived, everything you've overcome, and everything you've learned has shaped a version of you that is capable, resilient, and wiser than you often admit. Trusting yourself means finally stepping into that truth. Most people move through life second-guessing every choice, waiting for approval, fearing judgment, or assuming others know better. But when you say, "I trust myself," you reclaim the authority over your own path. You stop treating your intuition like a threat and start recognizing it as guidance. You realize that your inner voice is not the enemy, It's the compass that's been trying to lead you forward all along. Trusting yourself doesn't mean you'll never make mistakes. It means you believe you can handle whatever comes. This is the heart of Stoic resilience. Confidence rooted not in perfect outcomes, but in your ability to adapt, respond, and grow. When you trust yourself, fear loses its grip. You stop hesitating. You stop delaying. You stop living in the shadow of what if. Instead, you move, you choose, you act, and you learn from every step. Repeating this phrase also heals the internal doubt created by past failures. Instead of letting old mistakes define your identity, you let them refine your judgment. You begin to see your past not as proof that you should be afraid, but as evidence that you can survive, rebuild, and rise again. Every challenge you've faced becomes a reminder that you are stronger than the moments that tried to break you. I trust myself also protects your emotional stability. When you trust your own judgment, you stop being swayed by conflicting opinions, guilt trips, or external expectations. You no longer allow someone else's uncertainty to infect your clarity. You stop looking for cues from others to know how to feel or what to choose. Your decisions come from alignment, not pressure. Your direction comes from intention, not fear. This phrase strengthens your discipline as well. When you trust yourself, you follow through. You keep promises to yourself. You stop creating plans you don't commit to. Your actions begin to match your values, and your confidence grows naturally because you finally have a relationship with yourself based on reliability instead of doubt. On a deeper level, trusting yourself allows you to move through life with calm assurance. You don't need to predict the future to feel safe. You trust that whatever the future brings, you can navigate it. You trust your strength, your wisdom, your resilience. And that trust becomes an anchor, keeping you grounded even when life feels uncertain or overwhelming. When you repeat, "I trust myself" each morning, you're not just motivating yourself, you're rewriting your identity. You're choosing to step into your day with confidence rather than fear, clarity rather than confusion, and strength rather than hesitation. You become someone who doesn't crumble under doubt, someone who believes in their own path, and someone who moves forward even when the way isn't fully clear. This affirmation transforms your mornings, your decisions, your relationships, and ultimately your life. Because once you trust yourself, everything else becomes possible. When you bring all these 10 affirmations together, you realize they're not just morning phrases. They're a blueprint for a stronger, calmer, and more grounded version of yourself. Each line is a reminder that your power begins within, in how you think, how you respond, how you protect your peace, and how you choose to move through the world. And when you repeat them consistently, something shifts. Your mornings feel lighter. Your decisions feel clearer. Your confidence grows quietly, naturally, from the inside out. These affirmations aren't about pretending life is perfect. They're about preparing your mind to handle whatever comes with clarity and resilience. They help you walk into your day centered instead of scattered, intentional instead of reactive, and aligned instead of uncertain. Every morning becomes an opportunity to reset your direction, strengthen your mindset, and reaffirm the person you are choosing to become. If this episode resonated with you, if even one of these statements touched something inside you, I invite you to stay connected with us. Subscribe to Stoic Saga and keep growing your inner strength with us day after day.